Hello! On this weekend, I hope you're all doing well, and I'm here with a video which, to be quite honest, I'm still trying to decode as I'm bringing you this information. So firstly, let's start off with the source of this video before we get into this. It's from Deadline.com. Now, why that caught my attention is that Deadline is not a tabloid. I've covered this before on this channel. They are an official trade publication. That is to say that when they bring you information, that they are an authoritative source for breaking news. In this particular insert, they cover a lot of entertainment in the industry, and people check with them regularly. So they are an excellent source for people to look up or keep up with recent developments in breaking news. They are an excellent source of information. So basically, anytime I may reference a trade publication, they are not like tabloids, which can just, as we know, print whatever they are and credit them to sources and quotes. Trade publications, on the other hand, are more solid places for people to keep up with recent developments, whether they're covering, as in this instance, entertainment, or whether it's other types of breaking news. So they are a trusted source of information. So they are covering this concerning the coronation, which for me is very interesting. So they say leaked rehearsal plans for the upcoming coronation of King Charles III reveal that there is currently no place for Prince Harry and his wife Meghan in the procession to follow the king's crowning in Westminster Abbey. So this revelation to them has come following reports that Harry and Meghan have been invited to the ceremony taking place on May the 6th in the UK capital. According to the plans, the king's shamed brother, the Duke of York, or Andrew, has no place in the royal procession, and his daughters, Princess Beatrice and Eugenie, will not be taking part either. In an event estimated at about the third of the size of Her Majesty the Queen's in 1953, it appears that there is a place for, quote, working royals only. These include the King's sister, the Princess Royal, and her husband, Vice Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence, the newly titled Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, Edward and Sophie, and a few other adult royal cousins. Keep that in mind. So they go on to say one person who will be joining in is the youngest child of the Prince and Princess of Wales, Louis, who stole the show at the Queen's Platinum Jubilee in June last year. Then aged 4, he was considered too young to take part in her funeral procession 2 months later, with his elder siblings, George and Charlotte, becoming the youngest ever royals to take part in such an event. Harry and Meghan's children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, have not yet been invited to the coronation, so they've also spoken about that. Now, it's interesting to me, as I said, so Deadline cover a lot of entertainment news. I'm talking a lot. For example, if there is a Marvel or Star Wars project, or perhaps if there's a movie in development, they might want to get to know who the cast is and the director and on. So that would be a movie in production, or they cover, for example, a movie that's out in cinema. They want to know how well it's doing at the box office, what are the numbers, the scores, and on. So I've been trying to gauge what is their angle on covering this. And as an entertainment publication, my guess is best educated guess on this. From all the years on this channel dealing with types of entertainment, my best guess is the coronation, even though it is a religious ceremony, it is obviously a huge media event. And I'm guessing a lot of broadcasters all over the world have their eyes on this particular date, and you've got to know, just think of this from a business standpoint. You've got to think about advertisement and the amount of engagement that you will have from your audience viewing your particular outlet, whether you're, say, the BBC or you are CNN or you're just, another entertainment outlet who might want to participate in coverage of this. You want to know what will be the returns of audience views. So I'm guessing right now a lot of people are trying to source information on perhaps the guest list. And Harry and Meghan being these public figures of immense interest all over the world, people want to know what will they be doing on said event? So just from a business standpoint, you would not want to free up hours in your day where advertisers and programs that could bring in a lot more viewership could be in that slot to put in something there where, you know, audiences may be checking in or out. You want a captive audience, right? So you want to know who will be in what. So for this that has come out concerning the procession, I think a lot of us who've just been following, you know, the issues that have been going on with this family, it's a huge deal to these broadcasters and vendors. They need to know what will be happening, what will be the best times to put in, and how much coverage of this event and how many hours would generate for them the best, I'm going to say, bang for their buck. You understand what I'm trying to say. They want to know what the returns will be if they commit hours of coverage to this event. So Harry and Meghan, people love them, people follow them, and no one wants to free up hours in the day where people want to see people who they love being put behind, you know, candles or pillars and on and on. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of PR, even on both sides. For those who might want to sideline the Sussexes, you don't want to hear that maybe a huge outlet just want to cover like 30 minutes of this event because they don't want their viewers being bored or checking out, or, you know, you wouldn't want a huge outlet not wanting to commit to all the hours of the event of the day because they don't see a return or interest. You know what I'm trying to say? It is in the best interest of the British royal family and those who are organizing this event not to be, you know, petty and to do what we've been seeing and not to repeat the mistakes that they have been making. And one thing that I've been thinking about, and I've really been thinking about this, is how the Queen handled how Harry and Meghan processed down during her Jubilee. We all know that video where Harry and Meghan walk in alone and everyone's just kind of staring at them. Apparently, this was the wish of the Queen, that they should be able to have their own procession and not just be bundled in with everyone. So as much as the politics has been at play, I'm really curious to understand how those who are organizing this event are also understanding that people need to be interested in watching their event and not watching pettiness on display, not watching people who they love being mistreated and sidelined in, by the way, in a religious event. So that just does not go. Yeah, so for me, I think that's the angle. People want to know the details of this event, right? So they know when they're covering it, they're getting the best angles, they're getting the best images for posterity, even to be shown on their own channels as well, right? So what happens at a coronation? Coronations have remained much the same for more than 1,000 years. And Buckingham Palace, though they have stated that the coronation, though it will be rooted in long-standing traditions, it will also reflect the monarch's role today and look towards the future. They've said that it is likely to be shorter and smaller in scale than Queen Elizabeth II's 1953 coronation, which was so long. I've heard that they've had new composition of songs that will be playing, and it's gonna be a stately event. This is not a time to be petty. These are images that will be going down in the books. So I'm just wondering, are those who are part of this event organizing committee, are they aware of this? Are they keeping that in mind? Will they do right by all who are invited? And I'm talking all. We expect that heads of state, dignitaries, representatives from Commonwealth countries, you would want to see everyone being treated well and with respect. Don't forget that even from, all the years ago when they've had these coronations, even before cameras were there, they've known that it's about spectacle. It's about all of the pomp and pageantry on display. And if you think back to how the coronations were brought to the people, they know that on a day of such spectacle, you can't be having this whole side thing where people are seeing pettiness on such a grand scale, right? So I was looking through this and understanding how the coronation has been put forward to people. And this was a quote saying, in early modern coronations, the events inside the abbey were usually recorded by artists and published in elaborate folio books of engravings. So they want to capture it all. So all that to say, everyone wants to be on their best looking their best and being presented to the world in their best. From the ones being crowned to the members of the family, those in the peerages and the dignitaries and on, and everyone who will be in the abbey. So it's not the time nor the event for people to be acting out revenge or trying to put people in their place, in quotes. And I think it's very interesting that Deadline is on this, trying to understand where certain people will or will not be, whether the television viewers will be seeing perhaps what they want to see. You know, it's interesting. People want to know, what are we covering, right? Who wants to pay for people to be put behind pillars? It doesn't make sense. And even on a business sense, why would you free up your time to have your viewers just watch pettiness on display? It doesn't make sense. So, and this is an interesting note that from the time that they've been allowing more and more people to film parts of the service and the state procession, that they said that it's estimated over 20 million people watched the broadcast. I'm talking about the Queen's coronation in the UK, and the coronation contributed to the increase of public interest in television at that time, which rose significantly. People wanted to see her in her crown and all her regalia and on and on and on. So it's supposed to be elaborate, a glorious pageantry. So according to the royal.uk, when they talk about the first televised coronation, talking about the queens, they learned so much. This is a quote. Television brought the splendor and significance of the coronation to millions of people around the world in a way never before possible. An estimated 27 million people in Britain watched the ceremony on television and 11 million listened on the radio. The population of Britain at the time was just over 36 million. There were more than 2,000 journalists and 500 photographers from 92 nations on the coronation route. So think about that when I'm talking about Harry and Meghan, according to this, at this moment, currently not being included. Can you imagine 2,000 journalists back then? Probably it's going to be more than double this time. And they're being told on that coronation route that you're not going to be having the money shots. That does not make sense. That does not make sense. And right now, a lot of these vendors and distributors and people who are just in this type of business are taking notes. What's the point, right? So, courtesy once again of royal.uk, they understand the importance of having all of the beauty of their country, all of the pomp, the pageantry, all of their, the glory on display for this event. They say this: on the journey to Westminster Abbey, the Queen wore the state diadem, a circlet of diamonds which she went on to wear for the state opening of Parliament throughout her reign. So there is supposed to be a display of all of pomp and beauty, even on the way to the ceremony itself. From her dress to her crown, it was all on display, even those who were with her. They talk about the coronation route, the procession. They say this: a coronation procession took place through London after the service, designed so that the Queen and her procession could be seen by as many people as possible, in quotes. The 7.2 kilometer route took the 16,000 participants 2 hours to complete. The procession itself stretched for 3 kilometers. Those on foot marched 10 abreast, while those on horseback were 6 abreast. So they show that image there. And they say the officers and men taking part in the procession or lining the route totaled 29,200. And they go on to break that number down from the Navy, from the Army, from the military police. So adding Harry and Meghan and their babies would not be 4 people way too many. So for me, it's once again just another own goal that if these organizers push through to the end, it will just always reflect badly and quite poorly on themselves. So according to the coronation rehearsal plans, they've said that Prince William and Princess Catherine and their royal children will join their parents behind their grandfather King Charles and step-grandmother Queen Consort Camilla in the procession with other members of the royal family. So this was according to the Times. It said this quote, "Although the children's presence has not been confirmed by Kensington Palace, documents show that after processing out of the Abbey, they are expected to join their parents in a carriage behind the King and Queen, who will be in the Gold State coach." So it's interesting in all this, they're saying that no confirmation on Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. Because Prince Charles was just 4 years old when he was at Queen Elizabeth's coronation in 1953. So for Archie, they can't even go with age because he is turning 4 on the day of his grandfather's coronation. And Lilibet will be just shy of her 2nd birthday. The Lilibet one, perhaps she is too young, but what about Archie? And for them to still have it up in the air concerning Archie is very concerning. And that they are even putting forth other royal cousins. I'm sure they're not working royals, but yet for Archie, nothing yet cemented. So it is weird, isn't it? As I said before, who wants to pay to watch pettiness on such a great scale? And I'm talking about these broadcasters freeing up possibly about 4 hours in their day to cover this, where they're already saying that currently that there is no place for Harry and Meghan in the procession to follow the King's crowning in Westminster Abbey. That would be a first for sure. Once again, to hear them lumping that whole in with Andrew, doesn't that just give you cringe vibes? First of all, Harry has not done anything to even equate him to be put in the same statement with Andrew. And the treatment that we are seeing here still being kind of put out is so disappointing. So you tell me, from a business standpoint, you own a huge media outlet and you are going to free up about 4 hours in your day where you're being told that some of the most huge draws for your viewers internationally will be treated to segments upon segments of them not seeing the people who they want to see. Would that make sense to you? Or perhaps would you only free up a YouTube channel space for that where it can just go on streaming and you go on with, regular scheduled programming? You don't want people tuning out. Who would want people tuning out of such a thing? How many of you will just sit there to watch people who you love being mistreated, not even seeing them for a quarter of the day or on and on? You wouldn't, right? So the procession is a huge part of the event. It's supposed to be about, it's supposed to be the whole spectacle of it and the whole celebration of it. And what a way to delegitimize your own import on such a huge day and the whole meaning of the event by, if according to this, if they want to sideline the Sussexes in this huge part of the event, that is a huge way of doing so. It's just a rubber stamp on the fact that they don't even think that they're worth having members of their own family, talk about your own son, as a part of that. So for me, I'm just bringing this to you. I want to know your thoughts. I would love to know your thoughts. With all this information, I would like to know your thoughts. So here, I just have a tongue-in-cheek moment and where I'm going to give some free advice to those who are the royal committee that are organizing this coronation. This is some free advice. If this decision to sideline Prince Harry and Meghan and their children was brought to you by the same advisors who told William and Kate to try out colonial cosplay on their royal tour and that people were like, yeah, that sounds great, go ahead and do that. If this same advice is brought to you by those who said that Prince Harry should dress in a suit and tie while he was surrounded by other senior working members in full military regalia and he's the only one who stood out and you all got so much backlash. If you are there in making those decisions that have come back to bite you in the behind, here, come on, listen to me, free advice here. Say this to yourselves, come on, come closer. Your enemy is, say this with me, low ratings, low viewership numbers. You don't want King Charles and Camilla's coronation to break all kinds of low records with people only tuning in for 15 minutes. You don't want that. I'm gonna help you here. You're not gonna score an own goal. Come on, guys. Anything you can do to keep that from happening should be your number one goal. So think big picture. Think you want Charles and Camilla's coronation to have had in the hundreds of millions of viewers, not 3 million. You don't want people to have said that only a couple of 100,000 people tuned in and people all around the world were just tuning in for like 5 minutes or so. You don't want that. Come on, I'm trying to help you not score this own goal. this own goal. So do this for yourselves. Think big picture for once. Anything you can do to keep yourselves from having the lowest ratings ever of a royal event, you're gonna do that. You're going to listen and you're going to do that. You're going to have the best on display. You're gonna have that whole family looking dressed to the nines and taking part in what they can. It's time to have a win. Whatever will keep you from having the lowest ratings ever and having you all being criticized up and down and the entire narrative being hijacked into how petty you all are, for once, make sure that everyone is at their best, looking their best, participating in the best parts that they can, and you will see yourselves having some high viewership numbers, people tuning in like never before, and all the narrative around this event being positive, being something that is celebrated and is global and is beautiful. That's what you want. For once, just take some free advice. Enough with the own goals. Enough. For the organizing committee of the coronation, if there is time, they need to look into this, because that procession to follow the king's crowning in Westminster Abbey has always had princes and princesses, of which Harry is the son of an entire monarch, who, according to this, they are saying is not even a part of that. That is just so nonsensical. It is off. It is weird. It is a bad move. It is just not making sense at all. Look back at all the other coronations of the Queen. That procession has been a huge part of this, watching them go down and having the whole country in that one mood and spirit of welcoming in the new monarch. That's not the place for people to see pettiness on display. And that coronation procession from Westminster Abbey to Buckingham Palace is supposed to be another huge part of this event. So, what do you think, people? Lovely people, let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section. I would love to know your thoughts. So thank you all for watching. Leave your comments below. And a special thank you right now to those who support this channel financially, to my Patreon, PayPal, and membership supporters. I want to say a very sincere thank you. Thank you. And I want to shout out a couple of you here. Thank you so much to Angel Watt. Thank you for your faithful giving. You have chosen to give time and time again, and I appreciate your love and generosity. Thank you. Thank you to Marcel Kendrick. You are such a tremendous blessing to this channel, so special to me. Thank you. Thank you to Georgia Walker as well. God bless you for the tremendous boost that you've given this channel. Thank you. Thank you to Sylvia Ward. You are a huge, huge blessing, and I love you. And a special thank you to Martha Jones. Martha, I want to just say your support is truly meaningful to me. Thank you, thank you. So thank you once again to all who give to this channel. My love to you all. I appreciate you. Once again, leave your thoughts on this news below. I want to know your thoughts and expectations for the coronation. And I'm going to have a poll running with the premiere of this video where you can let us all know your thoughts on this. So once again, if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, click that subscribe button, let YouTube know you enjoyed what you watched, and leave your comments below. Thank you all for watching. Have a great weekend wherever you are, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a blessed one.